Hello.
Hello. What are we doing today?
We are looking at the different cards and the different names. So
Ooh, what's in a name?
what's in a name? So, like in the Rider Waite, the Fool is the Fool, but it's the Seeker and something else, and it's the Muse and something else. So we're going to talk about those.
Excellent.
Because there's quite a few different names through different decks.
Right.
So
First things first, though.
we're going to pick a card.
We are. What is the card for this episode? What's in the name?
What's the name? What do we need to know about?
What do we need to know
Or
about?
what do we need to focus on?
Let's see. Okay.
Lovely. It's the 10 of Pentacles.
10 of Pens.
Oh.
All right. So this says this will be a good episode.
Oh.
That's what I'm getting. What does it mean about what's the name? So let's dive into that in regards to this card. So to me, it's about the richness of the quality of the name. So, and how that can lead you to make your own transition, right? Because remember, when we see transition, it's when we're under an archway or we're walking through two things. So, because this card itself can be generational healing, right?
That's what I saw as the generation. You have, when we go through generations, certain generations call certain things different names, and sometimes it sticks back there and other times it changes.
That makes sense to me. That makes absolute sense to me. I love that. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
That's how we've related the 10 of Pens from the Rider Waite deck to our podcast today.
Yeah, what's in a name?
What's in a name? All right.
All
right, so what we start with, what do you reckon?
We'll start with the Fool. We'll start at the beginning. And I made a note, and this is from Wikipedia. In most, I'm just going to tell you, in most tarot games originating from Italy and France, the Fool has a unique role. In these games, the Fool is sometimes called the Excuse. Another name. Excuse. Now, the tarot games are typically trick-taking games. Playing the Fool card excuses the player from either following suit or playing a trump. So if you understand card games, you'll get it.
Right.
But again, I mean, that's another name. Probably, I mean, it is in the tarot games, but not so much in the tarot cards.
Wow.
But again, and like
because he's off on an adventure, right? Let's think about what Phil does, right? So he's taking himself off on an adventure. He's in his own world. He's doing his own thing. He's not playing by the rules.
No.
So
he's just stepping where he's going.
So that makes sense.
So the Rider Waite, yes, he's stepping off that cliff into whatever happens, he's just going to fly. He's just going to fly with it. But in the Shadowland Tarot, now, these are unusual, I would say.
A little bit.
It's called the Seeker. The Seeker, and again,
he's lost his head.
He's lost his head. I think it's carrying it, isn't it? Oh no, he's on the floor.
Lost his head.
But again, if you're at an adventure, you're walking to the unknown. Sometimes you don't have your head. In the, what's it called? Unveiling the Golden Age, it's called the Muse. Now the Muse, it's like you are searching for things, maybe searching for a muse, aren't you? Searching for something that's going to give you inspiration.
Yeah, and it actually says on this card, tickled by the free spirit. And when we think about that, that is exactly what the Fool is, right? He's a free spirit doing his own thing. Doing his own thing.
He's following his own rules or breaking the rules, isn't he?
He is breaking the rules. He's doing what he wants. Yeah, I'm going to put all the story together in a minute, but do the next one.
And then we have, I can't remember the Dreams of Gaia. The Dreams of Gaia.
No, it's not. That's a Sacred Circle.
Sacred Circle. And it's called the Green Man. The Fool is the Green Man out of the Sacred Circle Tarot. And
what a different card.
It's very different, isn't it? Like, you probably...
It's hard to see.
It's hard to see the figure in that card because he's blending in with the background.
Blending right in, doing a bit of a hiding thing.
He is.
That's interesting. So why we've chosen this, right, is so that when you guys are looking at your tarot decks and you think, oh, that's not, I don't understand that, what's in a name, if you research the name a little more as to the card, as to the name that the author and the artist have given the card, you'll find that it does match anyway. It's just something different. And
Yeah.
what it does is then expands how you can utilize that card in different ways, like this one, right? Touched by the free spirit. So now, touched by the free spirit might come to mind for you
when this one
when
comes
you
out.
pull the Rider Waite deck. You might go, oh, a bit of a free spirit, are you?
Yeah.
And it's just different ways to get different information and to retain the information a little differently.
Yeah,
So,
because we can get a little bit stuck in just using the one deck.
You get this like tunnel vision
Yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
sometimes or blind spot. You create this blind spot because you're not open to what else it may be.
Exactly.
So, which is another reason I prefer to do the see, feel, know method
Exactly.
over and above
Yeah.
anything else. Sure, add it, but once you start knowing what the cards mean, this is just another way.
It's another way of
Just another way
expanding
to
your little
expand.
repertoire.
I love that. Yeah. So it can be, what are you seeking? Seeker, right?
Exactly.
What are you seeking? And do you feel a bit like a free spirit?
Exactly.
Makes sense?
It does.
Yeah. Are you a bit fresh and new to things, like green?
Yeah.
Right? Bit green.
Bit green.
Right? So there's all of these different ways to expand. So this is what we wanted to do
Exactly.
today.
It is. It really is. So, and then
What have we got next?
we've got the magician.
Magician. All right. What's
But,
he going by? This will be interesting.
Magician is again from the sacred circle. He's known as the high priest. So that's the magician in the Rider Waite, and then the sacred circle.
Right. Wonder why he's
So-
the high priest. What do you make of that?
I'm looking at that. I'm looking at both of them actually. And the high priest in the sacred circle, he's got all the information in the book.
All in front of
He's
him.
got
hasn't
all
he?
in front of him.
And
It's
this
very,
guy,
yeah.
it's all here.
It's all in
It's
front
all
of
on
him.
the table right in front of him, right? The magician.
Yeah.
So he can be, what else have you heard the magician known as? Do you recall? can't remember right now.
I always think he's a bit of a joker, not so much a joker, more of a trickster.
He's a trickster.
He's more a trick because the magician, you have magic, and it's a bit of sleight of hand, that illusion. Is he really showing you what he wants to show you?
Or is he getting you to see what he wants you to see?
Yeah.
Right? So it is a
Yeah.
sleight of hand
Sleight
thing,
of hand
right?
thing.
Make illusion reality,
Yeah.
reality illusion. Yeah.
So yeah.
So depending on the cards that lay around the magician will depend on which way
Right.
you might take that.
So
But
normally you would say to the magician, oh, great, you're manifesting what you want in your life, but maybe you need to look at what you're manifesting. Is it really what you need?
Yeah. Well, is it even really what you bloody want?
What you want?
You
Yeah.
know, why are you? Because he can be deceitful, that guy,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
He can be deceitful depending on what's around him. But yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
very.
Then we're going on to the Empress. And again, she's the Empress in the Rider Waite, and in the sacred circle, she's just known as the lady. Just the lady. Just quite simple.
Nice, and yet some of the imagery is a little bit similar, isn't
It
it?
is very similar. Looking at this one.
It's still got the wheat. I'm going to show you this. So
Yeah.
we've got the wheat here.
And we've got the wheat down here.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the symbols. So as you're looking at different card decks, if you
Yeah.
get a bit confused as to what is what, then go back to the symbology on the card,
Exactly.
because you'll find it like there's the wheat there, there's the fact that, she's the lady carrying everything. She's still got the crown above her head. You see all the scars here? Oh, a bit hard to see. But if you're listening, when you get what deck am I? The sacred circle. When you look above the lady's head, there's all of these stars, which is also evident on the Rider Waite by her crown up here. So there's all these symbols that you get to look for. She's actually, she has got that as a halo, hasn't she?
She does. And
On the other one, yeah.
And it really much, again, it reinforces that abundance, that fertility, that abundance, the prosperity that she brings in.
And this here represents that abundance, right? Because that's what that shell is.
Yeah.
It's all about the abundance. So so you'll find it, and all the different signs, other signs in there.
Yeah, you just got to look. And again, the more you look, the more you see, the more you know.
Exactly. See, feel, know.
Yep. And then we're going on to the Emperor. And again, he's known as the Emperor in the Rider Waite. In the Sacred Circle, he's just known as the Lord.
Lord and
So,
Master.
but yeah, exactly.
That's what comes to
That's
mind
what-
for me.
exactly.
And that's funny because Lord and Master, we're going to talk about the generational thing now on the card that we drew for the day. Lord and Master was something that was said years ago, right?
Exactly.
Not anymore, but years ago. And the Lord and the Master was like the man who controlled, the man who sat at the head of the house, the king. What do you call it?
Yeah, well, the king or the
Something about the castle. Not king of the castle, but you know.
Yeah,
I can't remember anyway. Yeah, so it's a really old, outdated way to look at the man of the house now
exactly.
anyway. And yet, that's how it showed up here.
Exactly.
When you're just looking at words, right? Words are really interesting, aren't they?
They are.
So yeah, there he is.
But when you look at both of those cards, the Emperor and the Lord, they are actually outdated words, aren't they? We don't quite often use those words for people in authority or people moving into their leadership roles. We don't sort of say that. It's more you're moving, you're
even the word manager is kind of
outdated now.
It's more around, being led and being a leader. And it's not like a team leader. It's more about somebody who is guiding you today. Like the energy is so different.
It's very different, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
anyway.
Yep. And now we're moving on to the Hermit. We're skipping a few.
We are.
We're moving. We're moving again. The Hermit in the Rider Waite is that fellow walking up the mountains with his light. In the Sacred Circle Tarot, he's known as the Shaman.
That makes sense to me.
It is.
That makes sense to me because the Hermit is like he's like a self-healer and he's also the wise man that you might go to for a little bit of
guidance.
Guidance. I'm thinking what's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
a little bit of guidance. And that the shaman is quite a healer. So and the hermit can be quite healing too when you go to someone and they just know stuff and they help you through something through their lived experience, which is like what the shaman kind of is doing. So but definitely healing. Definitely healing.
It is, and again, both figures are out on their own, doing their thing.
Yeah.
Doing their thing.
Out on their own.
Yeah. So then we're moving on to the Wheel of Fortune. And this is where we get a few different words. So Rider Waite, Wheel of Fortune, just it's like that. Then we've got, and I'm thinking, I can't remember what this one's called. It's the AI, and it's called the Wheel of Destiny. I can see
it's the tarot with the everlasting day.
That's what.
Yeah.
And then we've got the Good Tarot, and it's called Fortune's Wheel. And for those listening on podcast, I will be taking photos of all these so you can actually see the difference.
All the difference, yeah.
I mean, all three of them have got wheels, but they're very different.
Very different, yeah. And the names, like we were saying before, like just what's in a name, right? What's in a name. So it does give you a different feel, though. I find the Wheel of Fortune versus the Wheel of Destiny, versus Fortune's Wheel. Like to me, Fortune's Wheel makes me think, like, what am I going to win?
Exactly.
That's how I feel about that one. Wheel of Destiny, I think, oh shit, what's going on?
What's next?
What's next? And then we have the Wheel of Fortune,
which is very much with the Wheel of Fortune and the Rider Waite.
Just
very
like
much
spinning, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very much spinning, but it's also moving towards what are you learning through this?
Exactly.
Whereas the other two are not so much. They are not obvious with the knowledge, are they?
No, they're not.
Not obvious. So
they're not obvious.
It's very different.
It is very different. This one looks hard to me. Like we're talking about the Tarot of the Everlasting Day, which is an AI created deck. And to me, that looks like that's hard work.
It's like everything's made of stone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's heavy, it's hard, it's all the things.
All the things where the others are quite
lighter,
softer. Both more colourful as well, isn't it?
Yes, true.
Bringing that light back into it, whereas that one's not.
That's true.
Yeah. So, and then we're moving on to Justice. So now we're going back to the Rider Waite, Justice.
Yeah.
And then we're going to the Sacred Circle Tarot, which is the web, which is, we both were a bit confused what the web was in this one.
The web, how does that come? And of course, we've looked at the numbers and gone, okay, so the numbers match. And in different decks, don't use that method because that
No,
doesn't fucking work.
it does not
right?
work. It does not work.
Yeah, so no, in the web, like it's kind of like when you think about the justice system or justice being right, it's like the wicked word when you first practice to deceive, right?
Yeah.
And the justice is about making it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
The balance of justice, the truth of justice. So I just find that really interesting, and like looking at all the different symbols on there, and like she's got this knife to cut
She
herself
does,
down.
doesn't she?
Wow. Yeah.
But again, you know,
Curious.
if we're looking at it, we're comparing, that knife could be the sword of justice, couldn't it?
Absolutely. I'm so
Doesn't-
glad you
yeah.
pointed that out. Yeah.
So
So glad you pointed that out. I'm a little curious. Chuck me the book box
The
and
book in the box?
we'll just see. Just really curious, just because we can.
we're just
Just
going to see what it says.
I mean, have I even got a book?
I think it's got a book in there.
Do I have a book? I do. Okay. So I just want to see, just out of curiosity. Let's
Just
have
gonna put
a
those-
look.
And show you so you can see. But,
Yeah.
and you can just sort of see that she is holding a little dagger, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Now I'm going to just talk this
Yeah.
through. So the Justice card in the Rider Waite deck doesn't have a blindfold on it.
No,
Right?
she
So
doesn't.
it's not blind justice, right? It's about seeing what's in front of you and what you need to
Yeah.
do. And the web, and I'll read it because it just says the web tells you that you must make a decision based on your own sense of what is right, rather
so
than listening to advice from others. So it's what
it's
is right,
and
Yeah.
not outside.
not outside. And
Advice.
that's what that is, because that's not
That's-
blind justice.
no.
That's what you see yourself,
Yeah.
justice for self, right? So that's how those two link.
Yes.
I get that.
Yeah. Now
I'm
we
like,
get. Now we can.
yeah, so that's what that is. And even as I read further on, it says the web card can indicate that truth and justice will prevail in a dispute, perhaps even legal action.
There you go.
So yeah, so that's what that actually means. So yeah, what's in the name?
What's her name? Yep.
There you go.
Now we're moving on to the Hanged Man,
Oh, we've got a
and
few
we've got
here.
a few here. So we have the Rider Waite, which is the Hanged Man. Then we move on to the Gilded Tarot, which is the Hanging Man. Yeah, the Hanging Man. And then the Shadowland Tarot, again, goes back to the Hanged Man. But look at the image.
How different is that, right?
It's so different.
What was it? I was reading something, watching something, I don't know,
Yeah.
and they had all these bats that were like hanging upside down and moving around and that. And someone turned the picture upside down and played music, and they looked like they was dancing. Yeah. Perception, right?
Yep,
Perception.
yep. And then with the Lightseer's deck, it's called the Hangman, but she's hanging from a hammock.
Yeah, very
So she's
differently.
very differently. And then in I have to keep checking, the Unveiling
of the
of the
golden.
Golden Age, it's a suspended one.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
suspended
different,
one.
different.
Very different. And then in the, what are we looking at? Sacred Circle Tarot.
Well,
We've got too many.
Okay, yeah.
We have Sacrifice,
sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
which does tie in with that surrendering and giving
Absolutely.
something up, doesn't it? And letting things be, letting things work through themselves without you forcing things.
Absolutely. It's like a different view, isn't it? You know,
Yes.
and sometimes, well, we need to sacrifice things in different ways than what we thought,
But yeah,
you know? So,
the only
yeah,
way to move forward, isn't it? Otherwise, we just keep tying ourselves up.
exactly.
you know.
Exactly.
So,
I love that. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what's in a name?
what's in the name?
What's in a name? What's in a picture?
Exactly. It
What's in a
goes
picture?
everywhere like that. Now we're moving to death.
Death. Trent's favorite
Now I
card.
love this card. I love these cards. Because, and again, these are probably one that's got the most difference to it. And I will say, again, going back to Wikipedia, they said something about the death card, something you will see in traditional, I think it's Tarot de Marseille, is often referred to as the card with no name, or arcane sans nom in French. And it's based on the superstition that even naming the card could steer death your way. So they wouldn't name it.
Oh my God.
But as we know, if we see that card come out, and I love it when this card comes out, it does not mean death.
No.
It means huge transformation. You know, look forward. That's what I said. I love it when this card. It means things changing.
Total transformation. It's like it's like the phoenix rising, and nothing will be the same.
Yeah.
Like nothing will be the same once you've been through that, and that actually represents Scorpio. Funny enough, and Scorpio speaks. There you go. Scorpio is a lot about transformation, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and so look at the Shadowland Tarot. Again, it's named Death, but again, completely different. So different. Yeah. And then we've got the Gilded Tarot in Death, but look at that. It's not actually a figure. It's, I don't know, it's like, you know, the image you would see on a knight's tomb or something like that.
Actually reminds me of the Grim Reaper, that one. But yeah.
Oh, yes, it does too.
Yeah, yeah. For those of you who are old enough to remember.
Yeah.
That. Yeah.
And then we've got the Sacred Circle again, which is Death, which is a lot softer. Still with that.
It's a lot softer.
It is a lot softer. It's not the freaky images that you would quite often represent. That does represent death. Although there are skulls in the bottom of the field. I don't know if you can see that. But had to find that.
Good old skull.
Then we've got the Light Seers, which is death and rebirth.
See, that makes more sense to
That makes
me.
more sense.
And what I like about the Light Seers card is when you're looking at it, you can see that his face shows you the new vision, the new direction. That's what I like about that. And
we've got the good tarot, and it's just simply transformation. Again, that's a lovely card. I think that's a lovely card. And then we've got the Unveiling of the Golden Age, which is rebirth. Again, like you said, the Phoenix
rising, yeah.
It's the Phoenix of the white fire. There you go.
Oh, there you go, yeah. So that white fire, right, when you think about, well, the Phoenix comes from fire, right? Literally from the ashes, rise out of the ashes. So all of these words are so interesting. All of the words make sense when you have a bit of an idea of what the card might mean.
Exactly.
And then you look at the symbols, and the symbols that match the words give the card even deeper meaning again. Exactly. So it's it's just interesting, like what's in the name.
What's in a name?
You know?
Yeah. And we're going backwards. We've got the lovers here in the Rider Waite. Of course we do. Mucked it up. And then in the good tarot, it's just quite simply known as love. So again, looking at this, I just noticed that both of those have, like Lou said, these symbols of walking through something.
Yeah, both of them.
Both of them. Yeah. And, you know, so it is, yes, it might say the lovers or the love, but it's very much moving forward, moving towards something. Yeah, we have temperance. And this temperance is one word.
One word.
That confuses me. It is temperance, and it's all about moderation and things, and taking things and, you know,
finding the right mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the good tarot, it's called patience. So again, slowing down.
Patience is a virtue.
Yeah.
Right?
And this is what confused us, but in the Sacred Circle, it's called the underworld, which can't really work that one out. And that's, you know,
let's refer to the thing.
You know, like
what it says.
We were talking about numbers.
See if you can find some
I'm trying to find something simple.
Something, right?
It's really.
He's got a pig there. Yeah. It's a pig. It's a bit of indulgence, isn't it?
And it is.
He's got dragon energy on it, which is like transformative in itself.
Exactly.
Let me see.
We're looking at the numbers here, which
just see what this is. But yeah, we are looking at numbers.
It's all right. They're all 14, and again, we were talking about the numbers, so don't often look at the numbers because sometimes different decks mix them up.
This deck is really fucking clever with their wording, right? Now, so just explain why. I'm going to show you something on here. So we're looking now at the Rider Waite deck, and I'm going to point out here that one of his feet are in the water. That tells you that there's some deep subconscious stuff going on here, right? Are you ready? So the underworld. When the underworld card appears, you are being asked to look at your subconscious motivations. You are being held prisoner by your inner fears, which is this what's going around. Like if you hold that up. And
so inner fear, so
the dragon's going around.
Or even coming out of the cave.
That's correct. Held prisoner by your inner fears or suppressed by experience that you refuse to face and deal with.
Yeah.
Wow. The inappropriate response is weakening you and putting you in danger of becoming an emotional cripple. This is a really
That
deep
it
card,
is.
isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
You may be punishing yourself for things that were not your fault. So
So they do, yeah,
wow.
they do sort of, when you read the meaning,
just because, and you look at the different symbols, because we said, didn't we? Oh, look at, he's got the dragon
Yeah, we've
energy
got
around
yeah,
him, and
yeah.
there's all
Yeah.
stuff going on in that. Wow.
So you can match them all together. Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah,
What's
it is. It is.
Oh,
Again,
wow.
what's in a name? And we're now heading to the devil. And again, what's in a name? This is the devil on the Rider Waite. You know, that figure, we all know that figure. This is the devil, which is called the catalyst in the Unveiling the Golden Age. It's called the catalyst.
I like that for the
name
of the devil, because when you think about it, devil energy per se is very much a catalyst.
It is. It is.
You know?
It is. And then we've got temptation out of the good tarot. So,
yeah. Yeah.
it is,
I'm just going to go back to that.
The catalyst.
The catalyst, because when you look at it and the words on it are shadow clearing.
Yeah. So you really are deep diving.
Deep diving. That is the shadow, no doubt, right? The devil himself is on this.
Yeah.
In one sense is the shadow. So on this card, they talk about the shadow clearing, right? Which makes sense. And what is in the middle, funny enough, that causes us to get caught up in all that shit is the temptation. So you can see how all of that comes together. All does match, and it does make sense. Yeah. It totally does make sense, yeah. And
especially with the devil, it's what we don't want to see sometimes too. It's what we don't want to acknowledge.
Don't want to know about it. Don't want to acknowledge. It's all the mental health stuff too, right?
Then we've got the tower.
Ooh.
So tower out of the Rider Waite. We all know what that looks like. A couple of figures falling out of a building. And then we've got the Tower of God out of that, the Tower of the Everlasting Day. Yeah. Again, it's quite dark, but it's called the Tower of God.
You know what I find, just feeling into those two, is that this one, the Everlasting Day, Tarot of the Everlasting Day, being called the Tower of God, makes me feel that it's, whilst the Tower in the Rider Waite deck is things out of your control, this feels more like it's a preordained destiny, like where God gets angry or the gods get angry. And I'm not saying that's what that's meant by that. That's just how that
and how it feels.
Makes me feel.
It feels very to me it feels very mythological, doesn't it? Yeah, you know, it's like very ancient.
It's like just looking around here, like makes me feel like Jerusalem, where you know, where all the shit went down.
Exactly.
Literally, and here's all the shit going down there.
Yeah.
So interesting.
And then we have initiation out of the sacred circle. So again, it's like you know, wandered around in a circle a lot of times until you've sort of found like, well, this is not working. What was just
yeah, like, and also like I don't know where I'm going, right? Yeah. That's so interesting.
It really is. But looking at that, you really are wandering around in a circle. You know, those what do they call them? Labyrinths?
Yeah, is it labyrinths, right? Labyrinths can be really like meditative, I find. You ever walked a labyrinth?
Yes.
Yeah, they're cool, aren't they? Yeah, so they can just be like when you're in that zone completely.
And it could be like, especially with this one, when you get to the center.
Because you don't know where you're going.
You don't know where you're going, but when you get to the center, you've got a certain answer. Yeah. And it's probably not the one you were looking for.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
So, and then in the good tower, we just have the good tower. In the good tarot, we have the tower.
Tongue twister.
Yeah. So again, it feels ancient to me. This card.
Does it?
It feels ancient.
Yeah.
The way it's being built on the edge of a cliff, and it's like the stairway up and around.
That actually, when I look at that, now you've said those things about it, it kind of makes me feel like it's about making the most out of the environment you find yourself in. Yeah. Right? And because shit will happen and shit will fall apart. So how are you going to adjust in that environment? Yeah. And who are you giving your power to? Because back in the Tower of the Everlasting Day, I feel like the power is external and it's been given away.
Okay.
Whereas it's not. It's an internal thing. But I'm not saying that that's what the card means or that's what the
Yeah.
author had made
Put
it to
across,
me,
yeah.
put across. Yeah, that's just what looking at
Yeah.
that picture makes me feel like. In
Exactly.
which sense, if you felt that way and you were using that deck and someone drew that and that's what you felt, then you could say to them, do you feel like this is out of your personal control?
Yeah.
Right? Because we know that it's not, but they may not know that.
Exactly.
So
To me, this tarot card is very Hollywood looking.
yeah,
It's very Hollywood
it is
looking.
very
So
Hollywood
is
looking.
it a lot of make believe that somebody's trying to put forward to you and you're not seeing the truth, your own truth?
And maybe shit has to fall apart so that you do
Exactly.
see the truth.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're moving. Last one. I know.
Last
one
one.
is judgment, and this is an
Ooh.
interesting one. Now that's the Rider Waite judgment, and again with the Tarot of the Everlasting Day, it's the final judgment. So that's very.
I find it quite biblical.
Yeah, I was going to say very religious. And I
Yeah,
never
yeah.
say
I
that.
find it quite biblical. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
cards, but I feel
Yeah,
it's more biblical
more
reference.
yeah.
But again, it's an external thing.
Exactly.
You know?
And then in the Shadowland Tarot, it's called discretion. It's called discretion.
See, now that makes sense to me because judgment itself is not necessarily being judged. It's something that you yourself are making decision about, and discretion to be discerning.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the owl flying above, and it's very much, it's almost like you've risen above to get a bird's eye view of the situation.
Yeah, and the owl's wise, right? So it's like, okay, what do you make of the view?
Exactly.
You know?
And in the good tarot, it's called call.
Yeah, like what are you called to do?
Yeah.
Where are you being led?
Where are you being led?
Yeah,
You
wow.
know, where are you going within yourself to find your own answers and your own calling?
And of course it means like I'm just looking at the next one, but judgment is very much about like being rebirthed or reborn. It's where we get to look at ourselves in our mind, body, spirit, and we also get to look at ourselves in our masculine, feminine, and inner child. Right? That's what it's showing right here. That's this.
That's all on the right.
That's them. Right? Masculine, feminine, inner child. That's what all that is. And where you're looking at your mind, body, spirit, because it represents the trilogy, right? The three things. So
yeah, we're not just a simple person, a simple human being, are we? There's many parts to us.
Some people are complex, yeah.
And in the sacred circle, it's called
rebirth, which is why I raised that. So I'm like, oh, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And on this particular card, on the sacred circle card, you'll see that there's this like sun in the center and shining out from all angles, which is like the born again rebirth type thing. And to me, I like that because that's being back in the light, and seeing the light allows us to see the shadow that's there.
Exactly.
So the more bullshit that you see in your life, the more crap that turns up in your life. It means that the more light there is. So you're starting to see it. That is, of course, if you weren't seeing it before. But if you're still behaving on and doing the same shit and having the same stuff turn up, then you have some work to do. And you might want to think about meditating on judgment.
Exactly.
The card judgment.
Yeah, and especially that makes sense to me, looking at the Rider Waite. I always think it's like an awakening. It's like an aha moment. Oh, why have I not seen that before? It's like you're waking up. So that's what I always see. And that one with the sacred circle, with there's some kids movie that has a not a kid. It's a kids show. The Teletubbies. The sun in a baby's face. That's what reminds me of that.
Teletubbies, right? Seriously.
But yeah, I probably can't look at that card without seeing that baby's son.
You're a funny bitch. Anyway, oh God, collect yourself now. Yeah, so what's in a name?
Exactly.
What's in a name? So
really look into it. So when you pick your tarot cards, just don't go, oh, I've found the final judgment. Oh, I don't like that. It doesn't make sense. But hang on, really look into it.
Look into it, because it probably will, right?
And if you can, and I was looking at it with if you compare both of those,
which is the Rider Waite
and the
Tower of
Everlasting, they do have the symbols of the wings.
Yeah,
So there is a spiritual side.
absolutely.
There
There
is a
is
spiritual side.
Absolutely, there
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
And actually, look again, look at these. Again.
Wait a minute, we've had a
Hang on, hang
malfunction.
on.
Hang on.
Technical difficulties. We'll be back.
One moment, please. Holy shit. Oh.
We're just having some technical difficulties. Now we can't even speak properly.
We haven't even had a wine. Wait a minute. Oh, I think we might have. I think we might have lost it. We'll have to just finish on
Spotify.
Spotify.
Spotify. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Hope it's given you a little bit more things to look